Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host, with another marvellous video. Hey arcade aficionados and gaming enthusiasts, welcome back to our channel, where today we're diving into the pixelated past to unearth some hidden gems. We're thrilled to bring you 25 underrated arcade games of all time. These are not just any games, they're the unsung heroes of the arcade world, the ones that brought us joy, challenge and a touch of nostalgia. From the bullet storms of Shock Troopers to the rhythmic beats of Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, we're about to embark on a journey through gaming history. So, grab your quarters, hit that subscribe button and let's power up this pixelated adventure. Are you ready to discover the arcade treasures that time forgot? Let's get started. Shock Troopers, 1997. Starting strong with Shock Troopers. The game that was developed by Saurus and released by SNK back in 97 is this super cool run and gun game for the Neo Geo. It's all about blasting your way through enemies and you get to choose how you want to play. Go solo in Lonely Wolf mode if you're feeling brave and want more life points, or pick Team Battle to roll with a squad of 3, each with their own special weapons. The story is also pretty wild. A group called the Bloody Scorpions kidnaps a scientist and his granddaughter to get their hands on this drug that turns people into super soldiers. You're part of this badass team of 8 from around the globe and it's up to you guys to save the day. The sequel, Shock Troopers Second Squad, switches things up with a new story and characters. Gameplay-wise, it's simply a blast. You're either dodging or shooting in all directions, or both at the same time. Oh, and did we mention that each character has their own cool special move? The game takes you through different routes like mountains and jungles, and each choice you make changes the game a bit, and those boss fights at the end of each level? Epic! The game has been re-released on a bunch of platforms over the years, so it's also pretty easy to get your hands on. Shock Troopers is one of those games that's just fun to pick up and play, with enough strategy and variety to keep things interesting. Definitely a classic in the run and gun world. The King of Fighters 97, 1997. Developed by SNK in 1997, The King of Fighters 97 is the adrenaline-pumping 4th installment in the King of Fighters series, made for the Neo Geo arcade and home console. It later made its way to the Neo Geo CD, PlayStation, and Sega Saturn, but only in Japan. The plot kicks off with the world caught in a fighting frenzy after the previous tournament's success. As new fighters and fans gather from around the globe, the excitement for the next tournament skyrockets. The game brings back beloved characters and introduces the new Faces team, revealing a deeper narrative involving the Orochi servants. This game is all about the thrill of the fight, offering players 2 distinct playing styles, Advanced and Extra. Advanced mode amps up the action from KOF 96 with a revamped power gauge, allowing players to stock up energy and unleash devastating super special moves. Extra mode, on the other hand, harks back to the mechanics of KOF 94 and 95, focusing on charging the power gauge for a dramatic power-up and the ability to execute super moves. In a nutshell, KOF 97 is more than just a game, it's a fighting fiesta. With its choice of fighting styles, a roster of diverse characters, and a plot that keeps you on your toes, it's no wonder that this game is considered a classic. Whether you're in it for the strategy or the story, KOF 97 delivers an electrifying arcade experience that's super hard to beat.
Round 1.
Here we go. Sonic action.
Windjammers, 1994. Released by Data East in 1994 for the Neo Geo arcade system, Windjammers is another fast-paced sports arcade game that's like a turbocharged version of Pong or air hockey. Players fling a disc at their opponent's goal to score, with gameplay that's easy to pick up but hard to master. The game saw a revival with ports to modern consoles like the PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, Nintendo Switch, and iArcade between 2017 and 2021, thanks to Dotemu, who also developed the sequel, Windjammers 2, released in 2022. Let's go a bit more in detail and understand how the game works. Players choose from 6 unique characters, each with their own speed, power and special throws. The gameplay is a thrilling mix of offense and defense as players maneuver around the court, blocking and throwing the disc with increasing speed. The courts vary, each with different goal zone sizes and positions, adding an extra layer of strategy. Whether you're playing against a computer or in a nail-biting 2-player versus, Windjammers is all about quick reflexes and sharp strategies. All in all, it's an electrifying blend of speed and strategy, offering a timeless arcade experience that's as addictive today as it was in 1994. Its simple yet deep gameplay makes it a classic that's super easy to love and hard to put down. Ninja Baseball Batman, 1993. Next up is Ninja Baseball Batman, a game well known for its quirky and vibrant elements. Released in 1993, this beat-em-up arcade game was developed and published by Irem. The game's development is a tale of creativity and passion, spearheaded by Drew Maniscalco of Irem America. Inspired by the popularity of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman, Drew combined his love for baseball with superhero elements, creating a unique concept where players recover artifacts stolen from the Baseball Hall of Fame. The game features 4 characters: Captain Jose, Twin Bats Rhino, Beanball Roger, and Stick Straw, each with their own fighting style and special moves. The plot's as eccentric as its title, with players going on a mission across the United States to retrieve stolen baseball artifacts. Up to 4 players can join the fray, battling through waves of enemies with a variety of moves and combos. Despite its innovative gameplay and vibrant design, the game was a commercial disappointment in North America upon release. However, it's since gained a cult following, thanks to the arcade emulator MAME, which introduced it to a new generation of fans. To keep it short, this one stands out with its bizarre yet brilliant fusion of baseball and the classic beat-em-up action, ultimately offering a unique and unforgettable arcade experience that could be more fun than a home run to some players. Night Slashers, 1993. This one would be an interesting one for many of you. Night Slashers was developed and published by Data East in 1993. It's another beat-em-up arcade game that stands out with its horror theme and is set for a remake by Forever Entertainment. The game follows the classic side-scrolling beat-em-up format, where 1 to 3 players fight through levels filled with enemies, culminating in a boss fight. The game's setting sees players battling against a horde of supernatural creatures like zombies, vampires, and werewolves, aiming to thwart the evil King Zaraotz's plan to turn Earth into a kingdom for the dead. The game features 3 distinct characters: Jake Hunter, the psychic cyborg with cybernetic arms and lightning powers; Christopher Smith, an English vampire with martial arts skills and control over water and ice; and Hong Hua Zhao, a Chinese martial artist with fire abilities. Each character has unique strengths, weaknesses, and elemental powers, offering different gameplay experiences. The game distinguishes itself with a larger moveset for characters, including screen-clearing attacks and a more intense horror atmosphere compared to its contemporaries like Final Fight and Streets of Rage. The Japanese version features uncensored content, adding to the game's gritty feel. Overall, this game delivers more than just a beat-em-up experience. You're greeted with this ghoulish vibe with twisted horror that's mixed with hardcore action. Elements such as this really sets the game apart from the crowd of this genre. Mega Man: The Power Battle, 1995. Mega Man: The Power Battle, released in Japan in 1995, is an arcade spin-off from the beloved Mega Man series. It's a notable title as it's one of the first and only arcade games within the franchise. The game, along with its sequel Mega Man 2, The Power Fighters, eventually made its way to home consoles in North America and Japan as part of various collections, and even got an adaptation for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. The plot's pretty straightforward. The nefarious Dr. Wily is back at it, rebuilding his robot masters to conquer the world. Players step into the boots of Mega Man, Proto Man, or Base to thwart his plans. What makes this game unique is its gameplay. Unlike the traditional platforming elements of the main series, the Power Battle is more akin to a fighting game. Players immediately face off against robot masters in one-on-one battles, reminiscent of Capcom's own Street Fighter series. Winning these battles grants players new weapons, which can be strategically used against other bosses in a rock-paper-scissors fashion. So it's safe to say that the game's overall fast-paced battles are quite engaging for newcomers and fans of the series. It's well appreciated for a refreshing arcade twist to the classic Mega Man formula, mixed with iconic characters and mechanics. Battle Circuit, 1997. Next, we have Battle Circuit, a beat-em-up game set in an alternate future Earth. The game was developed and published by Capcom in 1997 for the CPS-2 arcade hardware. It was Capcom's last arcade beat-em-up, later making its console debut in 2018 as part of the Capcom beat-em-up bundle. Players assume the role of one of 5 bounty hunters, each with unique abilities, tasked with capturing the mad scientist Dr. Saturn and securing the Shiva system, a program capable of controlling all computerized systems in the world. The gameplay is a classic side-scrolling beat-em-up where players fight through levels filled with enemies, upgrading their abilities with upgrade discs and using special battle download techniques for additional effects. The characters include Cyber Blue, a cybernetically enhanced hunter; Captain Silver, who can manipulate his body and project ice; Yellow Iris, a part-time model with feral agility; Pink Ostrich, a large sentient bird with aerial attacks; and Alien Green, a mysterious creature with vine-like arms. Originally conceived as a racing game, this game was redeveloped into the beat-em-up genre, distinguished by its manga-style sci-fi sci-fi artwork and comic-like characters. Despite its limited release, the game's vibrant design, diverse character abilities, and engaging gameplay mechanics make it a memorable title. Overall, it offers best of both worlds with its sci-fi and comic book flair, as well as an action-packed experience that stands out as a creative and engaging final bow from Capcom's arcade beat-em-up era. Willow, arcade game, 1989. Released in 1989 by Capcom, Willow is an arcade game based on the 1988 film of the same name. I mean, it's not the first time you've heard about the character because of the massive popularity of the film and the beloved character. Coming to the game now. This side-scrolling run-and-gun game follows the film's plot, where the evil witch queen Bavmorda seeks to destroy the holy Baba Alora Danan. Players step into the shoes of Willow Ufgud, a young wizard, and later Mad Martigan, a brave warrior, as they battle through various stages to thwart Bavmorda's plans. The game features 6 stages, each with its unique challenges and enemies. Players can play as either Willow, with its projectile magic attacks, or Mad Mardigan, with close-quarter combat skills. As players progress, they collect coins from defeated enemies to purchase upgrades at shops, enhancing their attacks and abilities. Willow's upgrades include a variety of magical attacks like Moonlight, Tornado, and Crystal, each offering different strategic advantages. Developed during a time when Capcom was looking to broaden its appeal by leveraging popular media characters, Willow was part of a dual-release strategy, with a different version also released for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Despite the film's modest box office performance, the game found success in arcades, particularly in Japan. It was praised for its graphics and gameplay, often compared to Capcom's own Ghosts and Goblins. To sum it up, this game gives you the true essence of fantasy storytelling with an engaging platform and run-and-gun mechanics, providing players with a magical arcade experience filled with enchantment and adventure. What more can you ask for?
Moonwalker.
Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, 1990. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker is a collection of video games released in 1990, based on the 1988 film. Developed by Sega and US Gold, these games span various genres and platforms, each offering an interesting take on the film's smooth criminal segment where Jackson rescues kidnapped children from the evil Mr. Big. The Sega arcade version, developed with input from Jackson himself, is a beat-em-up and run-and-gun game. Players use magic powers instead of physical attacks, with the ability to charge up for more potent attacks. Up to 3 players can join as different colored versions of Jackson, using dance magic attacks and transforming into a robot with enhanced abilities after rescuing Bubbles, Jackson's pet chimpanzee. The Sega console versions of Genesis and Master System offer a different experience, focusing more on platforming and finding children hidden throughout the levels. Jackson's attacks include his iconic dance moves, and he can transform into a robot for more powerful assaults. A prototype of the Sega Genesis version revealed notable differences from the final release, including a full thriller track and an incomplete final boss battle. Home computer versions by US Gold feature 4 levels, each with different gameplay styles, including a top-down maze, side-scrolling action, and a final level where players morph into a robot. Whichever version you play, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker games encapsulate the king of pop's flair and fantasy. You can only imagine the diverse and entertaining blend of action, rhythm, and adventure the game really offers. Escape from the Planet of the Robot Monsters, 1989. Hold your horses if you're a die-hard fan of retro sci-fi charm, because we have Escape from the Planet of the Robot Monsters waiting for you. This game is a multi-directional shooter developed by Atari Games in 1989, drawing inspiration from the campy science fiction B-movies of the 1950s. The game was later ported to various platforms including Amiga, Atari ST, and Commodore 64. The plot unfolds on Planet X, a synthetic industrial planetoid, where the brilliant Dr. Cerebellum's research laboratory has been overtaken by evil reptilons. The aliens have captured Dr. Bellum and are forcing humans to build a robot army to conquer Earth. In the game, we dive into a 1 or 2 player rescue mission to save Dr. Bellum and thwart the reptilons' nefarious plans. The game is played from an isometric perspective, offering a unique visual style for navigating through maze-like levels. We can use Hall effect joysticks for precise 16-directional control, enhancing the shooting experience. As we progress, we release human hostages, collect gems to power up their ray guns, and find food for health boosts. Strategic use of bombs can clear areas of enemies, and the game ramps up the challenge with its auto-scrolling spaceship sequences between levels. All in all, this one's all about super engaging multi-directional shooting action. It can get a one-of-a-kind arcade experience with its unique isometric gameplay and quirky 1950s B-movie aesthetics. Street Fighter Alpha 3, 1998. Street Fighter Alpha 3, known as Street Fighter 03 in Japan and other regions, is a 1998 2D fighting game by Capcom, released for the CPS-2 arcade hardware. It's the third installment in the Street Fighter Alpha series, following Street Fighter Alpha, Warrior's Dreams, and Street Fighter Alpha 2. The game underwent a complete overhaul from its predecessors, introducing 3 selectable fighting styles known as isms, based on previous games: A-ism, or Z-ism, X-ism, and V-ism, each offering unique gameplay mechanics. The plot of Street Fighter Alpha 3 revolves around the fighters' individual journeys and battles, with the overarching narrative focusing on defeating the evil M. Bison, who uses a powerful energy known as Psycho Power. The game introduces several new characters, including Micah, Karen, and an incarcerated Cody from Final Fight, each with their own motives and backstories. The gameplay in the game is quite renowned for its depth and variety. The isms significantly affect a player's speed, strength, and defense, allowing for a customized fighting experience. The game also introduces a guard power gauge, which depletes when blocking attacks, adding a strategic layer to defense. The controls have been refined from previous games, and the addition of just defense mechanics and counterattacks enhances the combat experience. Lastly, this one's vastly celebrated for its expansive character roster, deep mechanics, and engaging gameplay. It's the kind of game that offers something for every type of fighting game enthusiast, casual players to hardcore fans. Crime Fighters, 1989. Now we have Crime Fighters, another underrated side-scrolling beat-em-up arcade game that plunges players into the gritty underworld as undercover police officers on a mission to rescue kidnapped women from a notorious crime boss and his gang. Developed by Konami, the game was released alongside Konami's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, Crime Fighters, which offered a similar 4-player cabinet experience with the option for a 2-player or 4-player setup. Each character in the game is functionally identical but distinguished by different color palettes. The gameplay is super intense and cooperative, with a health system that depletes over time, reminiscent of Gauntlet. Players must navigate through urban environments like subways, fighting off punks and bosses while managing their health strategically. The game's unique feature is the post-boss battle, where players can choose to fight each other for extra health, risking more loss than gain. Weapons are available, but can be lost if the player is hit, adding a layer of challenge and strategy. This game was well received in its time, ranking as the 3rd most successful table arcade unit in Japan shortly after its release. It was followed by a sequel, Vendetta, known as Crime Fighters 2 in Japan, continuing the legacy of the series. Super Battletoads, 1994. Battletoads Arcade, also known as Super Battletoads, is a 1994 scrolling beat-em-up arcade game developed by Rare and published by Electronic Arts. It's part of the Battletoads series, known for its challenging gameplay and unique art style. Up to 3 players control the Battletoads, brawling through 6 levels to save the universe from the Dark Queen. The game is notable for its increased violence and gore, a departure from previous titles due to its arcade nature, which wasn't bound by home console restrictions. The gameplay here is intense and cooperative, with each Toad having a signature attack and the ability to knock enemies toward the screen, breaking the 4th wall. The game features various levels, including vertical stages and bonus levels, each with a unique theme and a boss fight finale. The combat's enhanced by the ability to collect and use weapons, adding depth and strategy to the brawls. Despite its initial commercial failure, Battletoads Arcade received some fame when emulated in the 2015 Rare Replay compilation for Xbox One. Reviewers praised its quality, humor, combat, and character design, considering it a highlight of the collection and one of Rare's finest moments. To sum it up, this one is a hidden gem that smoothly delivers bombastic, colorful, and well-designed beat-em-up action, making it an unexpectedly delightful discovery in gaming history. Mystic Warriors, 1993. Alright, next we have Mystic Warriors, Wrath of the Ninjas, which is also known in Japan as Mystic Warriors Ikari no Ninja. This side-scrolling action game was released by Konami in 1993. Developed by the same team behind Sunset Riders, it shares similar gameplay mechanics but introduces new hack-and-slash elements. As the debut title for Konami's Mystic Warriors-based hardware, it sets a precedent for quality and innovation in arcade gaming. Despite its popularity, the game didn't receive a home port until 2023, when it was released for the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 as part of Hamster Corporation's Arcade Archive series. So, coming to the plot now. Mystic Warriors. Players navigate a dystopian future in New York where the evil Skull Enterprise has taken over and plots global domination. Players control one of 5 young ninjas, Spyros, Kima, Kojiro, Brad, and Yuri, who are targeted by Skull forces. The game is notable for its dramatic plot, where one ninja sacrifices themselves, leaving the others to avenge their fallen comrade. The gameplay is dynamic and engaging. Here, players can jump between levels, slide and attack with an unlimited supply fly of shurikens, daggers, or use close-range weapons. The game introduces improvements like character change upon losing a credit and a life gauge allowing players to sustain multiple hits. Power-ups and a grading system at the end of each stage add depth and replayability. If you're up for a thrilling ninja action with a poignant plot and innovative gameplay, this arcade classic is all ready to give you a memorable time that stands the test of time. WWF Wrestlefest, 1991. Developed and released by Techno Japan in 1991, WWF Wrestlefest is a professional wrestling arcade game featuring stars from the World Wrestling Federation, now WWE. As a sequel to WWF Superstars, it improved upon its predecessor with a larger roster of wrestlers, enhanced graphics and sound, including commentary and pre-match introductions by WWF ring announcer Mike McGuirk. In 2012, THQ released a remake for iOS, bringing the classic action to a new generation of fans. The plot of it is super simple, simulating professional wrestling matches with iconic WWF personalities. Players can choose from 10 selectable wrestlers, including Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, and Jake the Snake Roberts, each with their signature maneuvers. The game features 2 modes: the Royal Rumble, where players pick a superstar and compete in a battle royale, and Saturday Night's Main Event, where players form a tag team and progress through a series of matches, culminating in a title match against the Legion of Doom. Game-wise, it's engaging and interactive, supporting up to 4 simultaneous players. Players can insert more credits to buy energy, perform numerous double-team moves, and power up after being on the apron for a certain length of time. The game's ability to capture the excitement and drama of professional wrestling, combined with its multiplayer capabilities, makes it a hit in arcades and a favorite among fans. So without any further ado, get prepared to face a thrilling and nostalgic wrestling experience along with some super engaging multiplayer action.
Dungeon Magic.
Dungeon Magic, 1994. Dungeon Magic, also known as Lightbringer in Japan and Europe, was developed by Taito and released in 1994. This beat-em-up arcade is known for its isometric perspective and platform gameplay elements, with adjustable settings for blood and gore. Despite its unique features and gameplay, it didn't receive a home port until it was included in the Taito Legends 2 collection. Let's see what this hidden gem is about. The plot is set in a kingdom under threat by an evil magician who's resurrected an evil spirit and kidnapped the princess for a dark sacrifice. 4 warriors, Ash the Knight, Gren the Roving Warrior, Sisti the Elf, and the old magician Vold, embark on a perilous journey to save the princess and the kingdom. Each character has their own backstory and motives, adding depth to the narrative. Now, coming to the gameplay, it allows up to 4 players to choose from the 4 different characters, each with unique abilities and signature attacks. The game is notable for its consumable items, weapons, and shields that players can collect to enhance their abilities, as well as a variety of enemies and bosses that challenge players in different ways. It features 9 stages, each with its own boss and branching paths, encouraging multiple playthroughs to explore all areas. The diverse character selection of the game adds to the thrill and takes you on a fantasy adventure you just can't miss out on. Zero Team, 1993. Zero Team, developed by Seibu Kaihatsu in 1993, is another underrated gem in the arcade genre. Seibu Kaihatsu, known for titles like Raiden and Dynamite Duke, added Zero Team to the repertoire as a game that uses Japanese superhero-type characters. The game was part of a diverse lineup of machines produced by the company, showcasing their ability to create engaging arcade experiences. The plot of this game centers around a mission to rescue a kidnapped girl. Players take on the roles of superhero characters, each with unique abilities, navigating through various levels and defeating end-of-level bosses to progress in their quest. The narrative is straightforward yet compelling, driving players to battle through hordes of enemies for a noble cause. Gameplay-wise, it's characterized by its dynamic combat and interactive environments. Players can throw and break background objects, using them as weapons against their enemies. This feature adds an extra layer of strategy and excitement to the beat-em-up action. The goal is to overcome the challenges and bosses that stand in the way of rescuing the kidnapped girl. The game is a must-play because of its engaging superhero theme, interactive environments, and compelling rescue mission. You'll be surprised by the exhilarating arcade experience this game has to offer, which is as engaging as it is entertaining. Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa, 1992. Alright, what do we have here? Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa is developed and published by Konami and is based on the animated series of the same name. This run-and-gun action game shares similarities with Konami's earlier Wild West themed game, Sunset Riders. Notably, Moo Mesa's creator, Ryan Brown, collaborated closely with Konami during the game's development, ensuring a faithful and engaging adaptation of the animated series. In the game, players dive into a vibrant Wild West world where they control anthropomorphic cowboy characters. A unique feature is the Stampede attack, which allows players to perform a spinning jump or use equipped items like dynamite sticks and tomahawk blades. Players can enhance their firepower by shooting flying chickens to uncover power-ups, such as a rapid-fire machine gun and wider bullets. Unlike Sunset Riders, this game introduces a 3-unit life gauge, giving players more resilience in the face of enemy onslaughts. Up to 4 players can jump in the action simultaneously, making it an ideal cooperative experience. All in all, you'll experience intense gun action with an animated charm which makes this one irresistible to keep playing. Mars Matrix 2000. Mars Matrix, Hyper Solid Shooting, or simply Mars Matrix, is a vertically scrolling shooter arcade game developed by Takumi and released in 2000. Published by Capcom and running on the CPS2 arcade system board, the game later found its way to the Dreamcast in 2001. Notably, the arcade version uses a horizontally aligned monitor, a unique choice for a vertically scrolling game. Set in the year 2100, Mars Matrix unfolds in a world ravaged by massive food shortages and civil wars. In an effort to solve these crises, the world government sends colonists to Mars, heading to the discovery of the Infinity Chip, which reveals the technology of an advanced civilization. By 2309, Mars declares independence from Earth, amassing large armies and an armada in anticipation of Earth's response. The Earth government dispatches a special air raid unit called Acid, equipped with the new Mosquito fighter ship, to enter Mars, quell the rebellion, and destroy the rebel leader. This one is super underrated. Wait till you hear about the kick-ass gameplay. It's both intense and strategic. Players control the Mosquito fighter, navigating through 6 challenging levels, each culminating in a boss fight. The game innovates with a single button control system where actions vary based on timing. Normal shots, piercing cannons, and 2 types of Mosquito attacks. Players can collect cubes to increase experience and power up their attacks, with each fighter having a unique hitbox and critical attack mechanism. The game celebrated for its challenging gameplay, innovative control system, and super attractive plot. The intense action of the game requires your skill and strategy in equal measure, so why wait? Blood Bros. 1990. Blood Bros is another 1990 underrated arcade game that was developed and published by TAD Corporation in Japan and Europe, and later in North America by Fabtech. It's recognized as a spiritual sequel to the 1988 game Cabal, featuring almost identical mechanics. The game, known for its engaging gameplay and Western theme, also has a bootleg version called West Story. In the game, players step into the boots of 2 blood brothers, a cowboy and an Indian, on a mission to hunt down the most wanted outlaw in Dodge City, Big Bad John. The game is played from a third-person perspective, with characters seen from behind and some screens featuring protective walls that can be damaged by enemy fire. Players have unlimited ammunition for their primary gun and a limited number of dynamite sticks to fend off enemy troops. The gameplay involves depleting an enemy gauge at the bottom of the screen by destroying foes and certain structural features. Successful completion of a level results in a victory dance walk into the horizon reminiscent of Cabal. Power-ups and special weapons are released from objects destroyed on screen, enhancing the gameplay experience. The game also supports a 2-player cooperative mode, adding to the fun and replayability. You can think of this game as a thrilling shootout experience that's also a satisfying mix of action and strategy. Best of both worlds, you might say. The Outfoxies, 1994. Coming up next is the Outfoxies, the game where you get absolute over-the-top action. Developed and published by Namco in 1995, this game is a weapon-based fighting arcade game that introduced a unique twist in the genre. Set in a world where players control one of 7 assassins, the game's plot revolves around defeating opponents using a variety of weapons, from conventional firearms to unconventional items like pies and hot soup. The game was designed by Masataro Umeda, known for his later work on Dancing Eyes. The gameplay here is both dynamic and interactive. Players choose from a diverse cast of characters, including a mercenary, a businesswoman, a scientist in a wheelchair, and even a chimpanzee. Each character has a special ability and can perform close-quarter attacks or use weapons scattered across the stage. The stages themselves are large and filled with obstacles and thematic events that can dynamically change the playing field, adding an extra layer of strategy and excitement to the battles. Despite being overshadowed by 3D fighting games at the time of its release, the Outfoxies has since been recognized for its innovative gameplay and outlandish action themes. The game is often compared to action films and been noted for pioneering gameplay elements found in later arena-based fighting games, particularly the Super Smash Bros. Series. The wildly entertaining and innovative fighting experience with its diverse cast and super cool action make this game a hidden gem in the arcade fighting genre. Elevator Action Returns, 1995. Next in line is Elevator Action Returns, also known as Elevator Action 2. This 1994 run-and-gun video game was developed and published by Taito. As the sequel to the 1983 game Elevator Action, it retains the original's elevator-based gimmick but introduces a grittier and more realistic setting. The game features a paramilitary team fighting against a terrorist group, expanding the gameplay system and replacing the spy motif with a new scenario. In the game, players control a member of a special task force assigned to foil a terrorist group group that's planted numerous nuclear bombs in various facilities. The player must obtain secret intelligence data scattered throughout each facility to disarm the bombs. Players can choose from 3 characters: Hart Bradfield, Edie Burrett, and Jad the Taff, each with unique weapons, sub-weapons, and abilities. The gameplay is also quite gripping and will definitely keep you on the edge of your toes. It involves navigating through levels using elevators and stairs while avoiding or defeating enemies. Players can use a variety of weapons and environmental objects to their advantage, and the game introduces a health gauge and a time limit to increase the challenge. The dynamic stages with thematic events and obstacles add depth and excitement to the gameplay. All in all, you're in for a treat with its strategic elevator-based gameplay, diverse character selection, and intense action that gives you both an exciting and memorable arcade experience. Metamorphic Force, 1993. Released in Konami in August 1993, this game stands out as one of Konami's last games in this genre, alongside Violent Storm. The game mechanics are reminiscent of Konami's earlier hit X-Men, and it runs on the same hardware as Mystic Warriors. The plot of Metamorphic Force is steeped in mythological undertones. The evil king, Death Shadow, ruler of the Empire of Horror, has risen from the dead, threatening to dominate the world. In response, the Greek goddess Athena summons the souls of 4 ancient guardians, bestowing their powers upon 4 heroes. These guardians, capable of morphing into anthropomorphic beasts, are the last hope to thwart the evil king's plans. The protagonists include Ban, a martial artist who transforms into a minotaur; Claude, a swordsman who becomes a white werewolf; Max, a boxer who morphs into a were-panther; and Ivan, a hunter and wrestler who turns into a were-bear. Now, coming to the gameplay. Players can shapeshift into powerful beasts by collecting golden statues, enhancing their abilities to combat the various anthropomorphic enemies like frogmen, elephant men, and lizard men. The game features a unique beast mode, where players unleash devastating attacks and a screen attack that destroys all on-screen enemies. The US version introduces a numeric life point counter that doubles as a timer, while the Japanese version uses a traditional health bar. Additionally, the US version includes a boss rush in the 5th stage, adding to the challenge. Though the game was moderately successful in arcades across Japan, North America, and Europe, it still remains quite underrated. But the mythological plot, shape-shifting gameplay, and intense action will definitely spark joy among the arcade enthusiasts.
Congratulations on completing Stage 5.
Air Gallet, 1996. Next up is Air Gallet, a 1996 vertical scrolling shooter arcade game which was developed by Gazelle, an offshoot of the defunct developer Toaplan, and published by Banpresto. The game, directed by Tatsuya Uemura and designed by Junya Inoue, is known for its intense action and detailed graphics. Despite being rushed due to Gazelle's financial difficulties and strict time schedules, the game managed to carve out a niche for itself in the arcade shooter genre. Speaking of the plot, it's set against a backdrop of global terrorism and propaganda. Players control a fighter jet, part of a rebelling organization tasked with stopping a terrorist group that's destroying major cities worldwide and brainwashing the population with propaganda. The game takes players through 6 stages, each concluding with a boss fight against an enemy aircraft. The objective is to survive by destroying waves of enemies and dodging projectiles while collecting power-ups and new weapons to enhance the fighter jet's capabilities. The gameplay here is characterized by its variety of weapons, including lasers, support drones, homing missiles, machine guns, and spread shots, each upgradable 4 times. Players must navigate through intricately designed levels, avoiding obstacles and collecting medals for points. The game's standout features include its detailed backdrops, its bright layering techniques, and humorous voiceovers, despite its high difficulty level. This hidden gem is not just any arcade game, but a well-crafted shooter with detailed graphics, diverse weaponry, and challenging gameplay. It'll give you an exhilarating arcade experience despite its rushed development, so don't just sit there. League Bowling, 1990. We've come to the last game of today's episode, and we're not cutting corners. Let's look at this last but not least hidden gem of arcade gaming. Released in 1990 by SNK for the Neo Geo console and arcade systems, League Bowling is a unique title in the Neo Geo library, as it's the only bowling game for the platform. The game allows players to control characters with distinct red and blue hair and select bowling balls ranging from 8 to 15 pounds, offering a simple yet engaging bowling experience. The game features 3 modes: Regulation, Flash, and Strike 90. In Regulation, players engage in a standard game of bowling, aiming for a perfect score of 300. Flash mode introduces a randomizer that flashes values between 1 and 300 during a player's shot, adding a layer of chance and strategy as strikes add bonus flash values to the score. Strike 90 is similar to Regulation but simplifies scoring, with strikes earning 90 points and spares 60, with no carryover bonuses. Additionally, League Bowling offers a unique multi-link play feature, allowing up to 8 players to compete by linking 4 Neo Geo MVS machines. a rare capability for its time. The gameplay here is straightforward yet addictive, capturing the essence of bowling in an arcade format. Its cartoon-style presentation, complete with humorous character reactions, adds charm and personality to the game. While some critics noted the controls could be awkward and the game might lack long-term replay value, its multiplayer capabilities, visual presentation, and the novelty of being a bowling game on the Neo Geo were generally praised. Overall, the game rolls a strike with its attractive presentation and engaging multiplayer modes, making it a standout and engaging bowling experience. Marvelous verdict. Wow, what a ride through the arcade alleys of yesteryear. We've revisited 25 incredible games that deserve a spot in the limelight, from the intense battles of Street Fighter Alpha 3, the cosmic chaos of Mars Matrix. I hope this journey has reignited your passion for these underrated classics and maybe even introduced you to a few new favorites. It's amazing how these games, despite being overshadowed in their time, continue to inspire and entertain us. If you enjoyed this pixel-packed adventure, smash that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more gaming goodness. Until next time, keep those joysticks jiving and those buttons bashing. Game on, legends.